recording?
Hey, pause. What the
Okay.
Who said that?
Who said that?
Zoom in. Wait a minute.
Listen up.
What up? My name is Chaxy. Ayrosh is in the building. We are the JUS Kidding Podcast, and we are live from where we are. Reporting live from space, from Pluto. So, we are the first aliens to invade Pluto. Or are we the first humans? Hi, alien.
It's highly debatable.
Hi, alien. Your eyes are green.
Green.
Yeah.
Niju ya kuchomwa, my friend. This is my lights zinachoma. Tunachomwa. We are being burnt. You know? So yeah, I'm glad to be back. I haven't seen you in like a week.
Yes. So, I wonder how you've survived the whole week. Udaniona wiki nzima bro.
Mazejo.
Makoki kula.
It's been good for me.
Skin is glowing.
My skin is glowing.
The beard is growing.
Watasema ni kuchoma tunachoma na light lakini ni.
But how come you have a bigger beard than mine?
Because I'm older than you.
No, it's not about age.
Usually, if you are older than a person, you get more.
I don't
facial
think so.
hair.
I feel like I know people who are older lakini if we need to consider mambo za beard. Sinyonge jabili. Sijui Billy ako na miaka ngapi. Anasema atakata footage. But najua ukiangalia chins wanaka 12 year olds. Najua. It's like I was having a discussion with who was having a discussion with? I don't know, one of I think one of my female friends. Now we're talking about manscaping.
Manscaping, what is manscaping?
Mimi niko like,
manscaping.
Si uko tu chini.
Hizo vitu wanafanyaga?
Yeah.
So manscaping ni madema na maboy.
Manscaping is kwa madem bro.
So on your manscaping. Yeah. Holy shit. You learn every day.
So let's confirm ndo nisiko pia unajua pia mimi I like to create words
I never knew that people do anything down there.
It's for men. You see, manscaping. So now basically she was telling me about waxing because she waxes all the time. And mimi I'm like it's either I'm old or my sijai move from the fact that when you say waxing to me, I imagine kuweka then I'm like come on, don't do that. So basically me nilikuwa like honestly for me I don't like seeing my genitals look like a 12-year-old, you know? Like lazima kuna. I like how I keep telling you information that you all really need. You know what I mean? Like
I'm curious about that information because hiyo imenipata yani design nyingine imenipata off guard kidogo.
Because unakunywa kahawa sana. But for real though, I feel like I don't like seeing myself looking like a 12. I think at a 12-year-old skizo memea foodie. Like at least I like seeing some hair down there, you know what I mean? Like yeah.
Good for you.
Good for me, man.
Good for you.
And that is information you really needed.
I really did.
You should thank me. Give me a high five.
Fuck you, man.
Yeah, come on, man.
No. Sasa najuaje kama umekuwa kibrashio bush yako umesema uko na forest. Toka zubura za tu kuchana. Ukipaka kokobata. Shea butter things. Anyway, it's just bad news for babies out there. So, umemaliza story yako ya manscaping?
Yeah.
Thank God.
But I can proceed if you want. I feel like I have more information that you might need.
No. Quick question. Today I think it's just bad news online.
Yeah, but it's a terrible week, bro.
So the thing is, I saw something called Femicide. I don't know if you've never ever heard of Femicide.
I know what Femicide is.
Because maybe that time I may interact now this week.
Okay.
So you already knew?
Yeah, I knew what Femicide is. Basically the murder of women, especially if it's based on gender.
Just like that.
Wait, no, you can check. Hi Siri, define femicide.
Okay. Nini umeona itashikanisha accent?
Inanipatia zile zenye lazima nisome. Mimi nataka niambie.
Okay.
Ama we can try again. Hi Siri, define femicide.
Here's what I found.
Tunaona. Inataka tena nijisome.
Si ujisome tu. Kwani what's wrong?
I want to get now Google. Nasikia tu iongee.
Okay.
It's the pronunciation anyway. Basically, if you can't beat them, you join them. It says, femicide is the killing of a woman or girl, in particular by a man and on account of her gender. So you are correct, yeah. So I'm assuming you're talking about this in regards to what's happening in South Africa.
Yeah, because I say yani wanafanya everything. Yani hao tu wanavuruga tu, yani I don't know what's wrong with those guys. They're just doing everything.
So, Billy, do you think you can pass me the MacBook for that? Without a phone, kidogo. It's because I saw something. I saw an article on OK Africa that I thought maybe could help us give some bit of context. So this is an article that came out today, and by today I mean the 3rd of September. Today is on Tuesday when we are recording this. Because I'm saying that because it's gonna come out later.
Yeah.
So do you want me to read like a summary of what OK Africa is saying?
Just a few.
So they're saying South Africans are calling for the death penalty in response to violence against women. This comes after the horrific murder of several young South African women. Yeah. We may know about the one of the stories who's been trending, but now it's a couple. So the past few days have been nisome kama Jeff Kwenange, nisome kama Chaxy, nisome kama nani Kibaki.
Nisome kama Kibaki.
Okay, so basically they're saying in the past few days there's a story called Uyenene Mretiana. This is the one who's been trending. I hope I got the name correctly. I'm sorry if I mispronounced it. Who's a 19-year-old student from the University of Cape Town, went missing a little over a week ago. Yesterday, a 42-year-old man was charged with rape and murder. A crime he claims to have allegedly committed in the post office after his colleagues had gone home. Last week Friday, South African boxing champion she goes by Baby Lee. I can't pronounce her real name. Was shot and killed allegedly by her policeman boyfriend. As if that weren't enough, 6-year-old Emily DeSamuan was abducted just outside of her school by 4 men who then demanded 2 million rand in ransom. That's around 131,000 USD. Fortunately, she was recently found unharmed and returned to her family. In light of the unnecessary violence against women, South Africans are calling for the return of the death penalty. And then there's a stat here that says, reports that over 300,000 South Africans have signed a petition calling for the return of the death penalty. That is just what I saw on OK Africa. I saw a tweet here that I cannot validate its source, but basically someone put a collage of the girls who've been murdered in the past 1 month, and clearly you can see they're all young beautiful faces. So their names are here. And then I think I'm gonna put this on the screen for whoever is watching. Sorry for the guys who are listening, but basically it's just a collage that has faces. Bill here that has faces. Like I charge that, and I believe that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, I was trying to understand like why, for example, like because all this stuff is happening in South Africa. So the question is, I was wondering is why is it happening in South Africa? And South Africa is where now they're doing this whole xenophobia thing, and they've been doing it for a minute.
For a while. It's just back again.
So I'm just wondering what is happening in South Africa? Like what factors cause people to have this kind of violence, this much violence against women? One, and of course now we'll also go into now.
Let's go back. So that reminds me something. I remember because I've been in SA once in Joburg and Pretoria. But when I was in Joburg, I remember we're driving to Pretoria and listening to the local radio, and they were having a discussion about rape in South Africa. Until then, I didn't realize that rape is a big deal everywhere. It happens everywhere, but I didn't realize it's very rampant in South Africa. So, which I can't remember the stats, but let me just check rape rates in South Africa.
There was also another documentary on BBC, Eyewitness, and it was also showing how, like, for mummies in SA, it's crazy. What are they?
Okay, so Google says it is estimated that over 40% of South African women will be raped in their lifetime, and that only 1 in 4 rapes are reported. It is also estimated that 14% of perpetrators of rape are convicted in South Africa. So out of 40%, only 14 are convicted.
14% are convicted. And those are the ones that are mostly reported.
Can you imagine 40%?
I was talking to another lady.
It's like half.
I was talking to a friend.
In South Africa have been raped.
I was talking to a friend today, and she said that today, if you say you walk in an isolated alley, and there's a woman in front of you, chances are she's afraid of you.
Oh yeah, as a man.
Can you imagine? That's the kind of society these mummies are living in. And now, like, you look like in terms of the femicide thing, because this thing interested me because this is the first time I've heard about femicide.
Yeah, about the term itself.
And they were saying femicide is a gender, whatever it is, you already said it's a gender hate crime. And they're saying some of the countries, South Africa ranks number 2
globally.
What is the femicide rates in the world? It ranks number 2 in the world. Kuna Ecuador. I think Ecuador is number 1.
Okay.
Wait. Where's that graph? I can't find it. But Ecuador is number 1. And then there's South Africa and a few other poor countries. But then the question was, the question is on my mind for a long time is, if you're saying crime is as a result of gender of poverty, there are other poorer countries compared to SA.
So many.
There are so many poorer countries.
But I don't think crime is a result of poverty, like all the time.
Yeah.
Poverty could just be one of the reasons why rates of crime go high, and because that's also assuming what they normally say is because of poverty, then people resort to other means of making ends meet. The same way we would also say there's people who are lazy that just want to make money easy, so they would resort into crime, but doesn't mean it's because they're poor. They're just not ready to put in work. You know what I mean? And the thing that I posted just about you talking about crime and why and why we have poorer countries that don't have such rates of crime, or people have other forms of crime like violence, stealing, but not necessarily raping people. And one of the lady who's been trending, the one who was murdered at the post office on 18th of August last year, she posted something that I actually posted on my stories, and it just read, "Women don't." I saw it on your list. So this is the babe. This is her last upload, bro.
Yeah, I saw it.
Came out 15th of August. Anyway, so basically, I think this is because it's sad what's happening in South Africa right now. Especially, I saw all the things about the rape, the murder of women, the femicide thing, and xenophobia that has been there for a while, but it's rampant again. Like it's like it comes and goes. They calm down. Then I saw did you hear the statement that was made by the head of police in Johannesburg?
No. What did he say?
Do you want me to play it for you?
No, I don't want to. Don't want to play it. Just summarize.
Can I tell you in summary?
Yes.
Let me read in summary because I have like a sentence, just one sentence that best summarizes. But he basically said, and I put that on my Twitter actually for guys to see. He said, "You won't, quote unquote, you won't find South Africans in other countries dominating a city up to 80%. We cannot surrender South Africa to foreign nationals." This is the head of police.
That's what he said.
So the police who you may think are supposed to protect Africans,
the other Africans.
Yeah. So that means, if I was Uhuru or any African government, especially Nigeria, because the latest clip of someone being banned and a huge business place being banned down is from. I think governments really need to take this. They need to take action. Even my government.
The problem with African governments is sometimes they are more of reactive other than proactive.
Exactly. They are always very reactive.
Yeah.
Then
most of the time, I hear there's a African Union. Yeah. I don't know what they do, but for example, what I wanted to. Do you think all this violence, because even that is a very serious case of violence, I think the way these South African guys are dealing with the issues are very extreme and inhuman like, and it's not, and very stupid. I don't think it's kawaida. I don't think even if us here we get pissed off, say a certain group of people, of course we also have our own problems. We
have Jaguar in parliament,
of course. Yes. We have our own problems. Yeah. But even if Jaguar goes out and says that random stuff like that, people are not
Kenyans
quick. They would. I've been surprised by Kenyans before. We've been surprised, right? Yeah. We've been surprised by Kenyans but the quickness to like really believe a leader about, say, like what Jaguar said, that people go out and choma their businesses. It's not that quick. It has to be even when it happens, you'd be like, somebody must have been paid
Exactly.
to do
That's
it.
what I'm telling you. It's like it's scripted.
Yes.
People don't genuinely feel that they need to go out and do these things. You know what I mean? And with that, what I think what I was mostly worried about when I was reading about the femicide thing in South Africa is, to Mimi, what it reflected to me is we have a huge responsibility as men to speak up against this. Like it reads man in a lot of spaces where news reports is as women. You know, like instead of, I think imefika, just because of how serious this issue is, I think imefika at the point where instead of saying violence against women, we should flip it. Because violence against women to me sounds a bit indirect. You know, it's like now posting and asking girls to start working in groups because they're afraid of what could happen to them. You know, how about you ask men instead directly to stop raping women? You know, I feel like it's a very manly issue, and we're the guys who should really take it up.
Yeah, but I think the first step is also just knowing that the problem exists.
It does exist.
And that there are guys who don't respect mummies. Actually, I was talking to my friend and she said men in general hate women. I don't know. I didn't know how to react to that one, but she said it and it's something that I've been thinking about for a while. And I probably will be thinking about it. In fact, if I'd like guys to comment on the if somebody is interested
10 minutes, yeah.
in telling us what do you, even mummies, to tell us what that really means. But
that men hate women.
That men hate women, because
I like to understand that.
Yeah, I also would like to understand that. So I wish we had like a mummy. We'll get a mummy eventually. Yeah. But like, look at these rates, for example, in these countries. El Salvador is the highest, and then there's Honduras. I'll send you a screenshot, and then South Africa is number 3. I'm happy that I'm not seeing Kenya here, but that doesn't mean that also Kenya has issues. Like, is it like this year or last year that 2 mummies were killed by their boyfriends?
Last year was crazy, bro.
So you see,
especially university ladies.
Exactly.
Last year was terrible. Terrible.
And then people will go online and say, oh, sijui watu wasidate ninis. You know, all that kind of condoning such nonsense. But for the case of South Africa in particular, Mimi, somebody mentioned that maybe the whole apartheid thing has to play a role.
Okay.
Especially with the what is it? Not homophobia. This is xenophobia stuff. Yeah. This is xenophobia stuff. Because I don't know. I saw a tweet, a quote that has been appropriated to Mugabe, saying that South Africans will kick the statue of the head of a statue of a white man, but they would never slap a live one, and they would kill another African at the drop of a hat, but would never even stand up to a white man in their own country.
It's true.
And also, I saw that we were also looking at statistics some time ago, and we found that 8% of all the land in South Africa is owned by the white South Africans, or whatever that means, white South Africans. But and who they own 80, almost over 70%. I don't know what exact percentages. But then these black South Africans, these African, actual indigenous African South Africans, are the ones killing Mozambicans and Zimbabweans.
Exactly.
And their neighbors.
And you need to realize, even beyond that, you know, so basically, now that we're talking about history, I love to take it back to history, because I do not know if this is ignorance or it's just out of dumbness, that you realize when there was the whole death penalty thing with Mandela, you know, he hid Nigeria and Tanzania especially played a big role to protect South Africans. Other countries helped, the Zimbabwe's nini, but I know for sure Tanzania and Nigeria played a huge role to protect citizens of South Africa. They made sure that they could travel. You know, they actually printed IDs for them so that they could camouflage and travel as Tanzanians or Nigerians. Because of what was happening in South Africa. So when you see that happen back to black Africans, then I'm surprised. Is it that South Africans don't understand that the real enemy is the white man whom they've not been able to historically deal with, that they're bringing it to the black people, what happens? And this also tells you that as a continent, as Africa, we have a long way to go when it comes to historical injustices. Same thing in Kenya. I was seeing guys were celebrating the birthday of Moi the other day. He's 95 now. I wonder I wonder how much time he has left on his clock. But anyway, that would be. Some people would say it's insensitive, but people are asking.
I saw the same thing. I think the one I saw was XTNDela, and he celebrated it, and I was like,
is there anything to celebrate? Me, my biggest question was how many years since Moi came out of office?
That's what I'm saying. It's only it's like we are very short-sighted.
Yeah.
We are very short-sighted, but it's also because of our leaders. For example, some of the leaders who the previous regime, the Moi regime, among other regimes, they tortured, they did all those things. They came back.
They've never been held accountable.
They never even. You know that the people who are doing the torturing, who are never held accountable, obviously, like in the Nyayo chambers and all that, all those other strange bad stories. Me, I have history books. I can.
Talking of which, I have one of yours. You left it in the kites here.
I could even give you a history of even the other regime. Yeah. Like I could show you some of the crazy things that those guys were doing. Those guys were never held accountable. In fact, they were rewarded with land and money.
And money. Yeah.
The ones being tortured, some of them, of course, died. Like Matiba died.
Yeah.
Matiba recently passed away, right?
Yeah.
And a few other guys. Some of them, of course, Matiba was compensated. Like last year. Was it last year or 2 years ago?
Yeah.
For what he went through. But the others, there are some who got absorbed by the same people who are torturing them. So they never came out and told us they never came out and told us, yo, this is what happened to us, this is what we'd like to change.
And
so
also
people never, like how in the US they build monuments and they tell people we should never forget, so that we never repeat history again. I think Africans we never really do that.
We just don't have a system.
It's like we wipe.
The people who would do that make sure that it never gets to the public as much. But you see, that's the thing. When guys are celebrating Moi, I was asking myself, all these years since Moi has been out of office, he's never been held accountable for any of the bullshit he did. He's never been held accountable. You know what I mean? And that also it also goes back to South Africa. It tells you that there's a lot of historical injustices across the whole of the African continent that we have to deal with. That's why I was pro the TGRC report, because basically it was going to look back at history and a few issues, like now all the looting that is happening with the Kenyattas and all these other issues. These are issues that would have been brought to light and then necessary action taken. But you know exactly how that went down, and we may never see that report.
Probably not in our lifetime.
Exactly.
Or not in this generation.
Yeah, that's crazy, bro.
But the thing, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. South Africans need to learn from us about how the people in power, the people who control things, they build you a fictional enemy. Yeah. They create an enemy for you to fight. Exactly. They create an enemy for you to fight, so that you don't really see that the government is not doing anything, or the people who are supposed to be working are not doing anything. That's why.
And when something comes to light, they put a big distraction.
That's why you'll hear the South Africans will say, "Oh, the Nigerians are here to sell drugs. Oh, the Mozambicans are taking our jobs," and they're not asking, why aren't our government, the state agencies, arresting these guys and deporting them for selling drugs?
And also, why doesn't the government just put in place like the law that Matiang'i put in place? If you're a foreigner, for you to come work here, you have to provide something that we don't have locally.
Exactly.
That means you have the priority comes to you first, people first, before it goes out to foreigners.
Exactly. And also, we need to define foreigners. Another African person in the African continent is not a foreigner.
And that's exactly.
To me, a Tanzanian is not a foreigner.
It's not a foreigner. And that's why they need to realize that the enemy is the white man. The enemy is not the black person.
Yeah. Because even actually, there's a person who's telling me, you'll realize that you'll say that this Nigerian is the one selling drugs in your country, and utapata any employee was some other random white South African.
Yeah, or even a lot of black South Africans employed by these people
to sell drugs to your own community. Exactly. So you're fighting amongst yourself, while the people who are really benefiting from you fighting are chilled. I'm sure the violence is not happening in posh areas.
Yeah,
Definitely. It's like here, when the election comes, you're put against each other. You're told, oh, this one is the one who's causing your problems, and the person who's telling you who's causing the problem is the
actual problem. Those are the actual enemies, actually. Because most of them are in positions where they can put in place policies and regulations, to ensure that we don't get to such points. But anyway, from my end on Femicide, I think I feel like we have a huge responsibility as men to really talk about Femicide and make sure that we replace these things. I don't think I like seeing violence against women anymore, or I don't like hearing it. Women should walk in groups and such things. I feel what I need to hear is men should stop raping women. Men need to be held accountable for you know what I mean. Like people need to be connected. I think we need to.
Another thing I've heard about men
narrative.
being told to call out other men when they do something.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah. We need to take action because these people are men who live amongst us.
Yeah.
I know you might know jamaa anakuanga mtiki kidogo, so we need to speak against those people. Yeah.
Maybe I'll finish. What I can say is I think South Africa is something we can all learn from. As I don't know how far this podcast goes, as all African people as in general. Yeah. That is, it's a way for us to see ourselves, to see the worst. Like a way for us to see the worst of ourselves. Like if like. Yani, it's like a mirror for your worstness. Anyway, Nabila ana reaction time ni mbaya. So I'm listening to Raul Midon. There's a song called Invisible Chains right now, and I think it kind of suits the whole podcast. Today is a sad podcast. I'm Ayrosh official on all platforms. You can find me, follow me. See you next week, same time. I think we'll be talking about drugs next week. If we get doctors
and dicks,
we're talking about drugs
and dicks.
So if you get a drug doctor, we'll talk about drugs. If you get a gynecologist, we'll talk about those things.
Drugs and dicks. That sounds like an EP.
Yeah. If you like the podcast, give us a like button and hit the subscription.
All right, I go by that guy Chaxy across all social media handles. Check out my Instagram. There's a new playlist that I put out yesterday. You can catch all those songs on Apple Music. We're back next week with another episode talking about drugs and dicks. We are Just Kidding Podcast across all social media handles. Peace out.
Recording.
Hey, pause. What the
Okay.
Who said that?
Who said that?
Zoom in. Wait a minute.
Wait a minute. Listen up.